Switzerland has a new central bank president this morning, at least on an interim basis. This after the resignation of scandal hit Philipp Hildebrand. Thomas Jordan is 48 years old and has been at the central bank since 1997. His total compensation was just over 860,000 francs as of fiscal year 2010. He has a doctorate from the University of Bern. Well, the Swiss franc strengthened against the dollar as Hildebrand departed. It's up against the euro as well. So will the new man be able to protect the currency? To help us answer that, we are joined by Stephen Saywell. He is BNP Paribas head of Forex strategy in London. Stephen, welcome to the program. First of all, what does the market know about Thomas Jordan?
Well, I don't think the market knows an enormous amount, but certainly what the market knows about the SNB is that they've been very successful in implementing that floor at 120 and Euro Swiss under Hildebrand. So really the question for the market now is how successful the SNB, I should say, will be at maintaining that peg with the departure of Hildebrand, someone who is associated very much with that policy.
Well, presumably it's going to have to do with the strength of Jordan's leadership because, of course, Hildebrand was seen as a maverick, as somebody, as a strong leader, somebody not without critics.
Yes, absolutely. And we need to keep this in perspective. Remember, this is a very unusual situation in foreign exchange markets where a central bank has stepped in, initiated a floor in the currency and actually been very successful in maintaining that floor now for going on for several months. Certainly our view here at BNP Paribas is that the SNB and Switzerland generally remains very committed to curbing excess strength in the Swiss franc. So our view would be that Jordan will follow in the footsteps of Hildebrand. He's already reiterated that the SNB stands ready to defend that floor at 120, and we think they will do that, and ultimately we think that will be successful. So we wouldn't bet against that 120 floor actually breaking.
And is Jordan in for the long haul? Is he going to be the permanent successor, do you think?
Well, we don't know that. We may find out today. There'll be a meeting of the SNB Council who will make a recommendation. That will then go to the government, and we believe the government then will need to ratify their decision. Chances are it will be Thomas Jordan, as you point out, but the jury's still out on that one.
I'm just curious because this is quite a small central bank board, only 3 people centrally. The decision-making process obviously relies heavily upon the person who's in the leadership position. So I'm wondering how you can be so confident that Thomas Jordan would continue in the same manner.
Well, we can't be completely confident. So look, certainly the way we would look at it is this has been a very big issue for Switzerland. The Swiss franc, even at current levels at 120, is still overvalued. But certainly when Euro Swiss fell down to parity, it was very much overvalued and represented quite a significant risk to the health of the Swiss economy. Hence the very strong measures that we saw both on monetary policy and finally on foreign exchange policy. So certainly from our perspective, we would say that the risk's very high for the SNB if they don't step up to the plate here, if they don't maintain the commitment that we saw under Hildebrand's leadership at the SNB, then once again the Swiss economy could be very much under threat, and you could see quite a significant decline in GDP, as I think was threatened when Euro Swiss fell down to parity.
At some point, do you think the Swiss are going to have to increase that target ceiling for the franc?
No, we don't think they will. There's been a lot of speculation in the market that they will move that higher from 120 to 125. But the reason we don't think they'll do that is purely because of the fact they've had so much success in maintaining that 120. If they push it higher to 125, then once again they'll need to put their credibility on the line. We don't think they'll want to risk that in the current market environment. Given now the change of leadership at the top of the SNB, there's more uncertainty. I think there's even less chance that they raise that floor from 120 to 125. We think they'll continue to stress 120 and be very happy with the success they've had so far.
And Stephen, do you think it was the right decision for the SNB, for Switzerland, for Hildebrand to offer his resignation?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, really. It's a political issue. Certainly, Hildebrand had an excellent reputation in the markets. The markets will miss him, but politics will always dominate these situations.
You're suggesting it's politics. Do you not think this might have been a conflict of interest?
Well, clearly it was a conflict of interest, and certainly if you look at the statement that Hildebrand made yesterday when he resigned, he highlighted that he couldn't, beyond a measure of any doubt, prove that this was not that he didn't know what was going on, even though he he stresses that he didn't do anything illegal, but ultimately it does come down to the credibility, and it was his decision to make that decision.
All right, Stephen Saywell, we thank you very much for your insights. BNP Paribas head of Forex strategy joining us from his offices in London.